Hey everybody, hope you're all doing alright out there. Let's talk about this that came up in the news last week. This is actually to do with an incident that happened in August of 2022 in North Wales. But the pensioner was jailed for 8 months over this because he basically chased down someone on a motorcycle and smashed them off their bike. However, there is a few things to talk about in this news article, plus watching the video back really highlighted to me maybe a few pointers I can give to younger riders. As I'm an experienced rider of more than 15 years at this point, I'm not looking to put the biker down. Obviously, he's been a victim of a crime here, and I understand that he came out of this with cuts and grazes, but he is a bit sort of shaken up about the whole thing. Shocking moment: road rage pensioner chases motorcycle through streets and slams into him, knocking him off his bike. Graham Robinson pleaded guilty to dangerous driving and obstructing the police and was sentenced to 8 months behind bars for knocking down motorcyclist Liam Guest. He was given 8 months for dangerous driving. My personal opinion is when you drive after a human being on top of 150 kilos of motorcycle with a 2-ton car and slam into them, you didn't intend to just drive dangerously, you intended to kill them. I like the fact that in America, if you do something like this, it's attempted murder, or it's attempted homicide with a deadly weapon, and that deadly weapon is the car. To me, as a motorcyclist, if someone tries to smash me off my bike and smash me off my bike like that, or as we're about to see, I'm going to show you the video, we're going to go through it, I would want that person being done for a bit more than dangerous driving. And they also say here that they obstructed the police. The incident took place on August 5th last year in North Wales when Robinson was crossing the bridge from Ryle, sorry if I got that wrong, to Kimmel Bay with Mr. Guest behind him. Mr. Guest, allegedly, is the guy on the bike, allegedly spat at Robinson and called him we're not going to say. Robinson then took off after him saying, "I'm going to knock you off your bike." There's an interaction here that I'm not entirely sure, how this all really started. I'm not trying to suggest that it was the biker's fault. I'm not suggesting any different. I'm just saying I don't know the full details exactly how this all started, because very, very often these, road rage incidents, videos and things you see on the internet, you see them right when things kick off. You don't see the last 5 miles of how this built, who started it, and if it was, it's a back and forth or what. The chase ensued, with Robinson reaching speeds of 50 miles an hour on the road and 40 miles an hour on dirt tracks. Robinson's own dash camera captures the entire chase, although the pensioner lied to police at first and said that it was broken. That's the obstructing the police bit. He said the camera wasn't working, when clearly it was. Prosecutor Rosemary Proctor said there was a substantial risk of danger, in particular to Mr. Guest and those in the gardens next to the dirt path. I do not understand why motorcyclists, or why a human being once on a motorcycle, is suddenly seen as less than human. If you just drove into someone on the street, I feel like you might actually get worse repercussions than what happened here. Maybe they understand there was mitigating circumstances. Maybe there was, a bit of back and forth, and maybe that's why they're saying, well, look, I'm not saying he did, but I'm saying if this scenario was like, they were like, well, you kind of started it or you did this, because I have seen another article that suggests that the biker may have actually smashed his mirror off before all this happened. But of course, misreporting happens. I don't want to be one of those people propelling that. I'm just saying we don't know all the facts. Keelan, who's the defence for Robinson, said it was completely out of character for the pensioner with no previous convictions, and he was stressed out because his wife was ill. I'm going to say this in nicest regards. I don't care if his wife was ill. He drove into another human being with a car. Now, I have to say, he has been put in prison. I don't know how long he'll be in for, but that is probably more than we normally tend to see, so I can accept that for what's happened here, because they got lucky, 8 months is probably fair to say, lessons learned, move on, but we can't let this go on your behalf, because my God, dude, you ran into a person. Oh, here's the bit about the mirror. I didn't realise it was in this article. The defence lawyer said, and I don't know why it's all the way down here, the defence lawyer said Mr. Guest hit Robinson's wing mirror as he drove past. His client then made an appalling decision to go after Mr. Guest. He said he is highly unlikely to be seen in court again. Now, bikers hitting wing mirrors. If this biker chose, for some reason, to smash the mirror off this car, you were asking for this. I'm not saying that what the person did was okay. I'm just saying, as I've said many times before, if you go and smash the wing mirror off a car, no matter how much you think they deserve that to happen, they are in a car. You have just really annoyed someone. You could push them into an angry moment when you're right next to their car. It takes one twist of the wheel and you're under the car. Nothing on the road is worth this. I've said this for years in many videos. Calm down. You're not, some road warrior. You're just a dude out on a bike. If he did knock his mirror off, and then he spat at him, and then he chased after him, you started criminal damage. But I can understand how this reaction to that is not right. Well, if that happens to a car driver, what they should do is take your reg, go to a police station and report it. And if they have dash camera footage, well, there you go. So if someone smashes your wing mirror off, go and report them. Because as I've said many times, I don't know why bikers think they are a law unto themselves to the point that they can hand out fines of wing mirrors. I get it. Your life was at risk. I've been smashed off a bike by an old person. I had surgeries. I have permanent damage from it. Smashing their wing mirror is not going to change their opinion of bikers, other than making it more deep-seated that they hate them, and you're giving them a reason to do it. Judge Timothy Petts said Robertson had used his car as a weapon against a vulnerable road user, though he accepted the mitigating factors. So it's good that the judge has taken that into account. But smashing someone's wing mirror, as much as I've just said you shouldn't do it, is criminal damage. Trying to crush someone with a 2-ton car is attempted murder. It is not the same thing. Now, I have a little bit of bias in this because, as I mentioned, I've had a serious crash many years ago now, actually. It was about 10 years ago, 2012. It was 11 years ago. Wow. This happened where I was going down a straight road. Car waiting to come across in front of me, and he decides to just go at the last minute. Old man said he didn't see or hear me or anything, and that was that. I was very badly hurt, multiple surgeries, etc., and he was given a driver awareness course. I was not happy with this. I did not feel like this was suitable. He was an old man. He was known to my family previously, and he had very poor eyesight back in the day. So he basically is a blind old man driving at dusk with a cap on over his eyes, and he didn't see me, and I got really badly hurt, permanent damage for the rest of my life, and he got a driver awareness course. I don't know why bikers have become, I don't know why bikers are second-class citizens, like, hit a pedestrian, that's really bad. Hit a motorcyclist, The judge's comments were, your driving was completely out of control, it's no thanks to you, the injuries were not more serious than they were. Yeah, it was sheer luck. This could have been, and I understand, if he was more hurt, maybe they'd make it an attempted murder charge because he's not actually really badly hurt. So there's kind of my opinions on the whole thing to do with smashing wing mirrors and not doing it, why it's not worth it, and also maybe your approach to motorcycling. Right, let's watch this video. I'm going to have to pause it at places for copyright reasons, so this is fair use because I'm evaluating this, I'm using this for educational purposes, etc., etc. That is fair use. So, there's also no sound to this, so let's just get on and play it. Instantly, I just have to say something here. If you've just skipped everything I've said in this video to get to this bit, and you're then going to leave a comment without all the context and subtext of what I've said in the first 10 minutes, don't. Okay, so let's actually show this. Okay, so this is the car of the person that hit the motorcycle. Okay, so if you watch, we can see here that the car moves over onto the hatchings to try and stop the bike from getting past. He may have just slapped his mirror there. That might be the bit about the mirror slapping. That may have been just a literal as he went past. Now, I have to say here, I don't know whether this all started over just that, over the bike filtering past. Maybe he thinks that bikes aren't allowed to do that. And I have seen the top comment on this video. One of the top comments is someone going on about how it was the biker's fault, he shouldn't have been overtaking car drivers. I would like to tell you now that motorcycles are allowed to go past you in your own lane or just over the line. It's called filtering. Not only is it a legal right of bikers, it's actually defensible in court with precedents in place. If you think you can bully a biker by blocking them or by trying to knock them off or something, you will lose in court because we are allowed to do it. Now, there are circumstances around this, like you can't be going too fast, you can't be doing it in a dangerous way, etc. But we are allowed to overtake you. The reason this is because we are more vulnerable than you, and being out of the traffic stream means we never get caught between two cars, and we also remove ourselves as traffic for you, so it's beneficial for you to allow us to go past. The only reason you don't like it is jealousy, and if you're jealous of the fact that we get home before you, well, go and buy a bike. But for the costs of riding a bike, we get really hurt in accidents, and we have to deal with the cold and stuff like that. So, I know someone who doesn't ride a bike, but they're like, I let people filter past on bikes because I realise they're having to deal with a lot more than I am. even though I'm kind of annoyed that they can get through in traffic. Not annoyed, but more sort of, you know, joshingly jealous. Oh, damn, I wish I could do that, but I can't because I don't ride a bike. Right, the bike now continues on. And as you see there, he decided to take the other side of the traffic island rather than the inside. So the bike is now continuing to filter. He's looked over his left shoulder. He's now slowed down because he has no idea this car is there. Now, you can see he's got mirrors on his bike, but they don't seem to be correctly adjusted. Is at this point the biker, la 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 la, looks over there, looks around, oh my god, he's there, not a clue. So yeah, situational awareness. This guy had no idea this car was behind him this whole time, even though he has mirrors, because he's not shoulder checking. And then he did shoulder check over the wrong shoulder, because, well, you know the cars are there, it's the one that's behind you, so you want to look over your right shoulder, really. But that's getting picky. But he clearly didn't know he was there until this exact moment. So, carries on, goes under this bus. That's a reasonable move. Car driver gets through. He's getting around like this. He knows he's being chased at this point. My question is why he didn't just duck down through here. Now, I know it's hindsight is 2020, and he's in a, you know, life and death, fight or flight scenario. He may not be thinking clearly, but motorcycles have an advantage over cars, which is we fit through narrow gaps. If I'm on a motorcycle and someone is chasing me in a car and they want to clearly do me some harm, I'm going to force myself into narrow gaps where they can't get. Between bollards, you know, between a car. Obviously, don't go flying through somewhere and hit some poor little kid that's there. I mean, try and do it safely. If the driver drove through those bollards, I'm not sure the car's going to keep going, and you're probably going to be able to jump. You know, my point is get out of the way rather than try and outrun them. So we're following along. Yep, through some cars. And this is where the incident comes up towards the end. So he carries on. He's looking behind him. And now the car driver, this is where the car driver's gone from like ridiculous to sheer insanity. Continues. He's still right behind him. And he just crashes straight through him. Because, I mean, it's probably that chicken wire and the bushes that have helped slow all this down and help the biker not get more seriously hurt. As I say, I detest people who think they are big and brave when they are behind the wheel of a car because they've got an advantage of 2 tons of metal around them when you're on the top of a 150 kilos of bike. I detest people like that because they are the weakest of the weak. So yeah, that's kind of this whole incident, and there's just so much that I think we can learn from this as bikers. There is always going to be an argument between bikers and car drivers to a point. There are many car drivers out there that are great to bikers, there are many car drivers who are bikers, and there's a lot of understanding back and forth. Like, you know, I think more bikers appreciate the fact that if you're in, for instance, a box van of some sort, which have traditionally known as being terribly driven, we appreciate the fact you can't see much around you. You don't have all the extra glass that a normal car has, so we'll give you a bit of extra distance. Lorry drivers will tend to keep, well, I hope people do this, I do all these things, you know, you keep back from lorry drivers when it comes to turnings and stuff to give them that bit of extra room so they can use the opposite side of the road and not try and scrape round the corner and take the back end of their truck off on a lamppost or something. It's about give and take, it's about being nice to each other where we can, to help each other out when we can. As I say, I mean no ill intent towards the rider in the scenario. All of what I've said here is supposed to be advice for others should you find yourself in a similar situation. But as I've said, my original tip, if you don't antagonise, you won't find yourself in this situation quite as often. If you don't overreact. Let me know what you think in the comments about this scenario and everything that's been said here. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Share it with people if you want them to, you know, maybe learn something from this. Like, you know, if you've got a mate that thinks that smashing wind mirrors is a great idea, maybe send him this. Maybe don't ride with him. I mean, yeah, maybe I'm like the old man in the group at this point, but someone has to talk reason and just calm your tits. Jesus, people. Catch you on the next one.